What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy Show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
You use two toothbrushes when you brush your teeth?
Yeah, I'm just brushing my teeth.
It's a famous vine now of a boy brushing his teeth.
But with two?
I think you really got to get back there when you.
He has a passion for oral health.
Yeah, I get that.
Over here, the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Go Islanders.
And then over here, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Let him host.
How you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Episode 99 of the GameOverGreggy Show.
Damn it, you had to draw attention to it.
Yeah.
Because so many people have been tweeting, are you going to do something for episode 100? And we're like, we should.
Yeah.
You know what we should do?
We really should.
We should film a podcast for episode 100.
Oh.
I like that.
See what I'm saying? Like a special podcast where all four of us sit together and talk about 4 different topics.
Do we go back to the kitchen? Do we go back and sit on the floor?
We could.
Yeah.
I don't know what we do with the table. We have to make Kevin move the table by himself.
Kevin can make it work. He just moves the
We
camera.
can totally do it.
Put an onboard mic. We'll just talking to the onboard mic on the camera.
We have long HDMI cables.
There you go. See? You big wuss.
Episode 100 is a milestone, but I don't feel like it's the most important milestone. Remember what we used to do when we used to do Podcast Beyond?
The
We
50s.
didn't really celebrate episode 100. We did a 100th episode. I wasn't even on that episode.
Yeah.
I was on episode 98, 99, I think, and then I wasn't invited to 100.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Only the important people.
Right.
allowed.
When we got to 200 and then 300 and then they just did 400, well, those became bigger and bigger
Right.
deals. So I feel like it shows a tad bit of modesty to say, like, you know what? Nah. You know, we're
I
gonna
like the way
to
you're
Bernie
thinking about
Sanders
it.
it.
Let's take the shit off of us fucking up and not planning things right. And
Yeah.
Yeah. 100's not a big
There's
deal
too many
at
other
all.
things to worry about. Because I mean, it's an interesting milestone, but it just means that we've done it for 100 weeks.
Yeah.
I say we celebrate some random
Episode 105.
104 would be 2
138.
years.
You want to do 104? Have we done it every week? Have we ever missed a week?
That's what
Nope.
I'm trying to figure out. No,
Never
I think
missed
we
a
have,
week.
No.
Never missed a week. So
104 would be 2-year anniversary.
Let's do it for 104.
Let's carve pumpkins.
Oh, I'd love to carve
No,
pumpkin.
I
Can we
don't
do the
like
thing
that.
where you take the pumpkin seeds and then cook them, like roast them? Like salt and
Are we
roast?
fucking savages? Of course we're going to do that.
I'm in. I'm
I'm so sick of pumpkins.
Fuck off.
What? You only get it for 1.5 months a year.
It's just why does pumpkin have to be in it? I know we've talked about this.
'Cause it's delicious and
ad
we love
nauseum, but it's why does it have to be in everything?
Because it's delicious and awesome.
It's fine. Pumpkins are just fine. You know, they're not. Why are we obsessed with the pumpkin? What about all the other gourds? You don't like a little bit of spaghetti squash?
I love
Oh,
a
I
good
love spaghetti
acorn
squash.
squash. I just had some acorn squash cooked up the other day. Delicious.
I
No
just-
one's knocking the acorn squash around here, Colin. I'll be dead in the ground before I let that
The
go
ground.
and fuck up.
I
with
feel
my
like
God.
I picture the cornucopia. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh,
like that's what
yeah.
I picture. Not the cornucopia
Yeah.
from the Hunger Games, but the cornucopia, the horn and the food coming out.
Right.
You got an apple and you got a corn cob and all these kinds of things.
Lots of things.
Way more festive and interesting because there's a variety of things in it.
Yeah, but the
The
pumpkins
pumpkin,
have
fuck the
faces.
pumpkin. Fuck
you don't
the
put
pumpkin.
you don't put faces on the squash.
You could. Who's
That's
stopping you?
weird.
Put a little
You could.
googly eyes on the squash and you got yourself a little toy.
You can carve a
All
squash.
right, now I'm with you.
You can easily carve
Fuck
squash.
the pumpkin. I'm sick of that shit.
If you didn't know, this is the GameOverGreggy Show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny where you can toss us a few bucks and get every episode early. If you have no bucks to toss, no big deal. Head over to kindafunny.com. Go to youtube.com/kindafunny. Go to any of the Kinda Funny websites where we break up the show topic by topic, day by day, until we post the entire thing the following Friday. Tim.
Yeah.
You are the topic. You're having a good day, and I think I know how this all comes together.
I'm having a goddamn great day. Last night, a little thing called the Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer came out. The full trailer, the final trailer. I'm sure we'll get a couple commercials and
Sure.
shit, 30-second spots.
Taco Bell
coming out.
things too. They'll have little.
There'll be
things.
some Taco Bell stuff
Yeah.
for sure. But this is the last trailer we're getting for this movie. Now, everyone's talking about it. It might feel like, oh, we don't need to hear this shit. Bullshit. We can never stop talking about this trailer. There's so much to say about this trailer. You
guys
guys
went and
talked
put-
about it on Colin Greg Live a little bit. We put up a video over on Kinda Funny, youtube.com/kindafunny, where we break down kind of secrets and Easter eggs and a bunch
Did
of
you
random
catch the
stuff in
Easter
trailer.
egg of it's Han Solo hugging Princess Leia?
Yeah.
A lot of people missed
Not-
that.
Yeah,
Not
I
so
know.
much
Actually,
an
we
Easter
did
egg.
see that. Yeah.
That was just an actual full frame with both of their faces clearly visible.
Yes.
Just
Quite
letting you
the
know.
Easter
Just
egg.
letting you know.
I think
Quite
that
the
maybe
Easter
I'm
egg.
just trying to help out and contribute.
No, I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And we made a bunch of predictions and stuff, so you guys should definitely check that out. But I was looking at the comments, a lot of people are like, oh, I want you guys to actually just discuss the trailer. So that's what we're going to do.
Here you go. You're welcome.
Internet. deal
Share
with
this
it.
video so it's worth
And a
our
lot of
goddamn
people want to
time.
hear Colin's thoughts.
Yeah, people
Duh.
are really looking forward to Colin's.
The trailer was terrible. It was a terrible trailer. Oh my god, it was a great trailer. I teared up a little bit when I
God
watched it.
damn it, I did too. That's the thing.
I couldn't help it. I got goosebumps when it started, and when the Lucasfilm Limited logo came up, I actually like went full blown goosebump on it. It's a great trailer. I don't need to see any more. I think a lot of people are. I think we're not. Tim's point. I don't think we're gonna see much more of this.
I mean, they said we're not.
Yeah, I mean, like with the exception of the TV spots, which will. I mean, I feel like even this trailer used a couple of shots of footage that we have seen before. So I think that they're starting to like the famous now John Boyega like confused guy look.
He was confused a lot in this trailer.
And he's very
even the
sweaty.
last shot with him with the lightsaber. He's like, I don't know what this thing is in my hand. Oh shit, this guy's got one too.
Yeah. So there's a lot to. I mean, I don't want to unpack it on a frame by frame basis because I don't. That's fun to do, but I don't really even want to get into it like that.
We already did it in the other video.
Exactly. And also I just feel like I don't want to pick it apart to the extent like my brother, for instance, who listens to the show, I think, loves this shit so much. Like not only Star Wars, but just anything where he'll like look for script leaks and all. Like he loves that shit. He loves it. He like gets down and dirty with that kind of stuff.
Did he see the Easter egg that was Darth Vader's helmet all smushed up?
Again,
like a bad pumpkin.
Just I hate to keep going back to this, Greg. Your definition of Easter egg, I think, might be a little off. I think it might be a little off. That was a 13-second shot of the helmet that we've seen 3 times before.
Now, my favorite shot to the point of these quick shots, my favorite shot in the trailer is actually when Kylo Ren has his hand next to that guy's face or whatever, and he's like the guy's like kind of freaking out or whatever. I was like, there's something unsettling about this particular Sith Lord, presumably that I don't even feel like Vader had, and that Maul certainly didn't have, and Dooku certainly didn't have. Maul could have had if they ever developed the character. Now, that shot really got me excited. The shots of Phasma got me excited. There's a lot of characters. The other cool shot that I really liked that I don't know that people are really going into too much, and we had seen pictures of it before, are the stormtroopers lined up in that very fascist looking shot with the big banners that look like Nazi banners, basically. I mean, Lucas, not that he's involved in this, was always obsessed with Nazi imagery. I mean, that was the fascist, clean, sharp edges.
Oh yeah,
simple logos, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was what he was always about, and that's why the Empire's soldiers are called stormtroopers. But I like that shot because they are talking during that shot, but they muddle the sound, and I don't think that that's the way it's going to be in the movie. Like he's giving a speech, and I'm really interested I've always been interested in that shot and that scene since it was shown in kind of stills, I think in Entertainment Weekly at some point or something, where I'm like, what is this scene, and what are they doing, and what are they preparing for, and what are they saying to each other? Because I'm just fascinated by the political dynamic between the two sides and how it's changed since the second Death Star was destroyed. And they go into that in Aftermath, which I heard is a terrible book, so I don't want to read it. But I'm just interested in the political dynamic between these two structures and how they still exist and does the rebellion now have the edge? Like I don't really understand.
Yeah, that's what I want to know because we're presumably years into the future at this point, right?
30 years.
They confirmed that, right? Obviously, with Han Solo looking the way he is, still looking good though. But it's interesting. Tim pointed out a couple things to me that I hadn't noticed in that shot specifically before, which there's different types of stormtroopers in it. A few of which have like tanks on their back. Flamethrowers, which is crazy. So going even further into that sort of like, I mean, it looks very, very. It reminds me of like World War II, where they would have like or even World War I with the trench warfare. But yeah, I think that line of dialogue they put in there was maybe just for the trailer, where it's like kind of muffled in the background. Because I went back and tried to listen to hear what it was, and I think it's just kind of something they threw in there.
There's a lot of like little things that if you listen really closely, I watched this trailer too many times, and I like watched it without headphones, with headphones. Like I was really trying to get in there because I'm like your brother more so than you, I think, when it comes to this stuff. And like there's such little hints. Like if you listen during the part where you see John Boyega for like the first time when he's talking about being a stormtrooper or whatever, you can hear faint hints of Duel of the Fates in the background, like the hymn, like the thing that they're singing over and over.
Right.
They're just little tiny, very, very faint whispers of it. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. So.
Yeah, one of the things taking a step back from the minutia that I really just appreciated about the trailer is that it's just a really well made trailer, right? It starts and it could be any sci-fi movie, it could be any sort of thing, and then we get even when you see the Lucas that lovely homage to the older series with the Lucas Limited logo, it still doesn't really feel like it until the music sort of goes from the keynote on the piano to the fully formed love. Like the love theme
from Empire,
and then it just reminds me every single time where I'm like, look, I heard the trailer was coming out. I'm like, I'm not really that excited. I don't really care. I'm gonna go see the movie. It doesn't matter. And then you watch it and you're like, fuck, it just sucks you back in and it gets you excited. And I'm right there with you. Where I'm like, this is really cool. This is really cool. This is really cool. And then that moment, that music cue hit, And I'm like, oh my, like my childhood came flooding back to me. And you see the Millennium Falcon being chased by TIE fighters. And I'm like, yes, that we live in this time where both the Muppets and Star Wars are relevant again. That is fantastic.
I love the fact that this trailer, I think, was this is a perfect movie trailer because I think that it gets people hyped that weren't already hyped for it. And I think that for the people like me that like you're saying that like you're not that excited or whatever.
I'm very excited, but I know like the second they announced it, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna go see it. I know I'm gonna see it. I don't really even need to see anything about it. But I could have gone in blind.
You still want to see the trailer and you still get hyped about it. For me, I get hyped for the trailer. Like I was so excited.
Did you watch football for it?
Oh, I watched football for it. My God, how long can 7 seconds last?
It's the last 2 minutes of the half, man. That's
Holy shit, man. It was so upsetting. Then all of a sudden they added more time. And I'm like, what is this?
It was a clock error. I loved it.
It was some bullshit.
I loved watching Twitter.
It was some fucking bullshit. Anyways, I watched this shit and I'm like, oh my God, this trailer is exactly what I wanted because it gave me just enough to like delve into and like start speculating and trying to put the plot together in my head and all this stuff. But it also didn't go too far. There's a lot of things that I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have. And I'm like, that's a perfect modern trailer, I guess I should say. Because modern trailers just give away everything.
They tell point for point, plot
every single thing.
Point.
And I think this movie, you know, more so than maybe the older Star Wars trailers, does kind of show a lot. But having said that, there's so much things it doesn't show. And I think that's what's the most important part about the trailer. Not seeing Luke, besides just the shot we've already seen, is very, very important.
And the shot you've already seen you're talking about is when that metal hand touches R2.
Yeah. And just like the way that they like subtly hint at the story just through the music, just through the use of the music. The fact that they use the love theme between Han and Leia, which is like, why would they go back to that song? And it's like, I think that there's such like a family lineage with that. And when you see that song plays when Han is talking to Rey, I'm like, that's fucking awesome. And then the Force theme, which is also Luke's theme, starts playing. And it's like, this is bringing Luke back into it and like the importance of all of it. I'm like, fuck, man, such a good goddamn trailer.
I think what's special about it too, and it's just an inherent thing because we don't know anything about the movie's plot, is that, which I think is exciting. We don't really know anything about it. We know who the characters are. We don't know how they all fit together. You know, we have this new, I don't even know his name off the top of my head, the new Grand Moff Tarkin kind of character, and then we have Phasma, and then we have Kylo Ren. So we have like a whole empire structure that we had with Vader, the Emperor, and say like someone even like, why can't I think of the name, the AT-AT driver, in Empire or whatever.
Watto.
Not Watto, no. You know, nerds out there know what I'm talking about. Where he gets promoted in Empire and stuff like that. Like, so we already have a power structure with like some different dynamics in terms of the like how we assume they're structured, right? And then we have the remnants of the rebellion, which I assume now is the Republic again. The Resistance, I guess now they're called. So something. There's still some. The Empire still holds the cards. It seems like.
Yeah.
Even though the Death Stars destroyed, the second Death Stars destroyed, all this kind of stuff, we often the fight in Empire and Jedi specifically, and even A New Hope, was so singular on that on those structures and just those fights between them that we don't take into account how grand the structure is and like how big the Empire is, and that doesn't really affect them, or it affects them maybe economically and with personnel. I mean, millions of people presumably died on the Death Star, but we don't look at it in terms of like, well, we assume that it was over, but it's not. And so we have these power structures in place, but we don't know how they interact with each other. And so unlike A New Hope going into Empire especially, or Empire going into Jedi, we don't even have an idea of what they're going to talk about, because Empire going into Jedi, we knew that the movie was going to be about at least partially getting Han back, right? We knew that was what was the movie was being about. So when you see all the trailers in context of 1980, I'm sure I wasn't alive, that, or 1983, that, you knew this was what the movie was going to be about. So when we see all these disparate parts, we have no idea how they fit together. And I think that's super exciting. So no matter how much we see, we have no context. And so I have no problem seeing the trailer. Again, I don't want to see any more, but it's fun because it just brings up more questions than answers. We have no idea how these things fit together, to the point of Luke's music being used and stuff, and really only seeing Luke's hand or whatever with R2. There's a lot of crazy theories about Luke. And you know, as I talked about on Colin and Greg Live today, even though I don't believe it because there's just a lot of semantical issues, and I don't think they would do that. There's a lot of rumors. There's a feeling that Luke's the bad guy. I just don't see now. We've talked about it in the past, but the further along I get, I'm like, regardless of the semantics and all that kind of stuff, they just wouldn't do that to that character. It was something I was talking about with my brother yesterday. He's like, they cannot heel turn Luke.
But I mean, that doesn't even make sense. We've seen Kylo Ren now without his helmet on. It's not Luke.
But people are
Adam Driver, right?
People are still discussing it though, as if it's
people,
as if it is a thing. We've not seen Kylo Ren though.
Haven't we
in footage though? we've not seen Kylo Ren in footage
with his mask
off.
Yeah,
So
we've
From
seen
behind
straight
today.
We see it from
oh,
behind.
I see. Okay,
There's
all
one
right.
shot of
Yeah.
him like with presumably his hair.
His beautiful.
But
Adam
haven't we
Driver
seen
hair.
Luke in? Maybe they're just.
It was a leaked production still of him that might not even be from the movie. Like that, the thing you're talking about, there's a picture of him like around green screen. That might be for toys or something.
Oh, okay. Because I could have swore we saw at least one poster of him where he was dressed as sort of like the Obi-Wan style character.
That was like a behind the scenes picture.
We did see that. I mean, that's the only shot we've seen of him. The point I'm trying to make about the Kylo Ren Luke connection or whatever and all that is that it's fun to have speculation because there's just no context. And what I'm excited about with it is that I don't want to go to Reddit or I don't use Reddit anyway, but I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of like reading all this stuff, and I don't even know half the characters' names. Like, and that's so weird to me because I am so intimately familiar, especially with the not the prequels, but the trilogy, you know, the real Star Wars movies, that I know everyone's name in Jabba's palace, every one of them, right? And so like I don't even know the fucking main characters' names in like you can put all these random ass fucking people in front of me and I can name them for you, right? But with this new one, I just don't know these characters yet, and I like it. And to Nick's point, I think it's fun that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna see it and I'll learn about it.
Yeah.
And the speculative drive, we should enjoy it now because episode 8 will not benefit from the same speculative drive because we are going to know where the story is going and it's going to have a different feel. Of course, we'll be able to relive that with Rogue One and all those kinds of things, but even that we know how that story ends. So this is fun because we just don't know anything about it.
I think the cool thing is the fact that back in the day, you know, there wasn't the internet and all that stuff. So like the reveal in Empire, no one saw coming. Whereas nowadays, it's like it's with the moment a trailer comes out, people can figure out everything about the movie, or at least as much as is possibly drawn from that trailer. So I just think that even the fact that this movie, people want to know every single thing about it. People are discussing every single frame, and we still have a lot of things we don't know. And we're 2 months out from release. That's pretty damn good. Like there's some twists, there's some things that are going to happen that we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're the big questions that need to be answered, and that's what's fun about it, right? Is that we don't know who Kylo Ren is, we don't know who Rey is, we don't know who any of these people are in context, or really John Boyega in context to the grander story, and that is what's fun about it. And you're right. I mean, episode 8's not going to have the same sort of energy behind it because we'll be knee deep in there. Having said that, though, it just dawned on me. I'm like, wait a minute, this is part 1 of a trilogy. Like that's crazy.
And there's 6 of them coming out. I mean, there's 6 movies coming out.
Yeah, but which means that at some point we're gonna see Luke Skywalker fight someone with a lightsaber. It's gonna happen. That's exciting to me.
I'm almost positive.
I hope that they kill Luke.
I don't see they're gonna kill Luke. I would worry they're gonna kill Han.
I think they're definitely gonna kill Han. I would love it if they just wiped out some of these characters and did it. Like go real. And this is what I was talking about with my brother with the Kylo Ren rumors and all these kinds of things, and Luke and why we've seen Luke and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, because the rumors about like I don't think Luke's even going to be in this movie that much. I don't think he's going to be in this movie almost at all. I think he's gonna you're gonna see him a little bit. You're obviously gonna see him, but I think you're gonna see. I would say Luke under 5 minutes of screen time.
I mean, the story here is that they're out to find him, right?
That's the rumor.
The rumored story.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's not going to end up being what it is. I really do think that Luke's either going to be like the final shot of the movie, like a cliffhanger type thing, or he's going to come in during the climax fight.
Like I was talking about today on Colin Moriarty, where they all have their hands above their head and they all bring him down. Him swooping in.
I don't even think then. I think it's going to be after a character death.
Just comes flying in like Neo,
and he's going to come in.
Yeah.
It seems to me
He's doing a Superman
my feeling about, and I don't know because I'm not in it enough anymore into the Star Wars lore, and people are just so into this and know so much more about it than I do at this point, which was not the way it was when I was younger. Where that scene of him and R2, presumably him because of his mechanical hand, obviously lost his hand in Bespin with his first fight with Vader.
And R2's there, so
and
you can assume he probably wouldn't have let that droid go.
No, of course, yeah, like they're boys. Is that Dagobah?
It could be.
And like, and I'm wondering, like, did he go back? Did like Yoda leave something there? Like, is there something? You know, like, is there some reason for it? Like, because it's just
get my balls. You must.
The imagery of that. I'm like, that's just. It could be any play. I mean, there's a fucking million planets, right? But I'm like, the imagery of that. I'm like, that's too weird. And R2 being emotional or seeming emotional there, and him putting his hand down. Like, are they remembering something, or is there that scene to me is steeped with a lot of like mysticism almost.
Is there not fire in that scene?
That's the thing is my thing
Maybe
is
Dagobah's
that
on
to me it's
fire.
either Dagobah and that's going to be like at the end of the movie, or I think that's going to be either some flashback or just something where the scene where we see all the flamethrower motherfuckers and like just Kylo Ren's going through wrecking shit and we see Captain Phasma running through. I have a feeling that's going to be a really pivotal scene where the stormtrooper dude, Finn, John Boyega, he in that thing decides he doesn't want to be a stormtrooper anymore because he sees like a bunch of murders and shit. And I have a feeling that like Luke is at the scene after it happens, and I think that Luke's like shit.
We'll see,
like,
but that also begs
dead.
a more interesting question too. Is that prior to this time period, all the stormtroopers were sort of mindless clones, right? I mean, they were clones. They had sort of minds, and we've established a little bit in the Clone Wars that they have individual personalities. But in the original three, in 4, 5, and 6, they were just sort of like blank slates, right? So where have the stormtroopers gone to now, 30 years later? Are they just normal people that are recruits?
I think during the original trilogy, they were just normal people. We just didn't really
I think they were still clones.
Well, that was I don't know the answer to that because my impression was always that, and that's why episode 2 bothered me so much.
Yeah,
was because it did, just like they ruined Vader, they ruined everything in those movies. So it's unclear to me what the status is of the stormtroopers by the time A New Hope happens, because that was what was so fun about it. Even in Tales of the Empire, which I know is not, the EU's not counted anymore, they would tell all these stories about these individuals, but they told one story about just one stormtrooper. And I always loved that because it was always like these guys enlist, they come from these faraway planets. It seems like the Empire might be like, I mean, they clearly are, but it seems like the Empire might be deeply racist in the sense that all the stormtroopers seem to be human. So, they speak the common language and all that kind of stuff. So there was so, again, the Nazi imagery, there seemed to be way more fascism on display when you thought that these were individual people as opposed to clones. And I don't know enough. I'm sure there is an answer.
Sure.
But I don't know when that cutoff happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that by the time that happens, at least most of them aren't clones anymore. It's just people enlisting. I mean, and this is just a production thing, but some of them are shorter, some of them are taller.
Oh yeah. I mean, and they talked a little bit in The New Hope, thinking back, where he was talking about wanting to join the Empire anyway, right? To be a pilot. Wasn't that?
No,
he was talking about
rebellion. He wanted to join the rebels.
No, I thought he was thinking about. Wasn't he thinking about joining the Empire?
No, the rebellion. Well, the deleted scenes with Biggs on Tatooine or whatever weren't.
Was he going to join the rebellion?
Well, no, I mean, he even says it in the scenes that are in there. I think he wanted to be a rebel fighter, right? I mean, I thought so. I mean, I haven't seen New Hope.
Yeah, it's Rebel. I just watched it last weekend.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
No, man. I just think it's fascinating because we just really don't know what this time period is. And the sad thing is when you sort of envisioned when, after Return of the Jedi, you sort of envisioned that they would go on then to kind of overthrow the Empire and live in prosperity for the next like 30 years. But apparently that wasn't the case.
And I mean, I think that's the coolest thing is like we got so much about the world and where it's at just in this trailer. Like just the little bit of the two main characters talking to Han and being like what the hell?
It's also,
and then he'd be like, it's all fucking true. That shows that like when that shit happened, Jedi and Sith gone completely. Like no one believes in the Force. No one believes in any of that. Well, what Colin was talking about a bit about it being like this thing where we don't know the scope of the whole thing. The Death Star exploding, yeah, it's a big deal, but that was just one thing, Oh no, I know. And that's what's crazy to me is like you look at Han and you have to think back that he didn't really have that much sort of exposure to the Jedi culture, right? He had Luke, which is pretty much it, but he comes in contact with Vader once and then gets put in carbonite. And so he has that line where he talks about it's all true. He says it's all true, but he says the dark side and the Jedi. And he doesn't, I mean, maybe it's just the way it was written, but he doesn't mention the Sith because maybe he doesn't really understand what that is. He probably wouldn't. I mean, the Sith wasn't even mentioned in the original trilogy.
Right, exactly. And so that might have been something that's not even culturally like relevant in this time period. But it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating to see where Kylo Ren comes from and who trained him. And
if he's even trained.
He looks like he's trained.
Does he?
He's got a dope ass.
He just fucking turns the lightsaber on and looks like he just.
Well, he looked like he's trained because presumably he's torturing. He's using the Force to torture Poe.
See, I thought he was reading his mind.
Yeah, which I
pulling memories from his head.
Well, I mean, to me, I didn't get that vibe. I got that vibe of that, like he's doing some nefarious,
similar to House.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Not to get too far into this, but two things we talked about in the video we made were with that scene. I think it's a clear homage to A New Hope when Vader's torturing Leia and then blows up Alderaan. In the trailer that we just saw, it looks like he's torturing him and then using the new Death Star thing to blow up. You see a planet like exploding. It looks like it's his home planet. I think they're at least alluding to that. The other thing would be when there is a shot when you see Poe Dameron walking and John Boyega, the crossing paths in front of the X-Wing, and it's like kind of that like buddy moment.
He hits him on like the shoulder.
The VO is Han, and he's saying like it's all true. The dark side, the Jedi. When he says dark side, you see Poe. When he says Jedi, you see Finn, and that could be something. I don't think so. I think they only did that to make people think that John Boyega's a Jedi. He's not a goddamn Jedi.
Is the assumption too that planet where that scene happens,
Jedi,
that's
there you
Yavin?
go.
I mean, or it's a moon. That's Yavin. Our assumption is, right.
So which one?
When they do cross each other's paths, I mean, that's Yavin, we assume, because it looks like Yavin.
Which one was Yavin?
Like where like their original base is.
Oh, where they have the
where
thing
they
at
have the ceremony.
end,
At the end,
Yeah, Tim mentioned that because there's a spot where they walk into a temple that looks
Yeah,
like
it looks
that.
just like they're.
I think
that
that the
architecture.
temple place is Yavin. I'm not sure if that's the same planet as. We don't know. There's so many planets that look similar now.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool though, because like when we all saw that desert planet, it's like, why does so much shit happen on Tatooine? It's like, oh, it's not Tatooine. It's just a different desert planet.
Yeah,
But
which
it
is
would be
weird.
fascinating though if that was still the sort of the hub of the rebel forces, and that planet is the one that we're seeing getting basically sieged by the Empire.
Yeah, like that's their capital or whatever.
Yeah.
Like their Coruscant. The I think it goes even deeper than what you're talking about with because that scene with Han Solo when he talks about like it's all true, it definitely is super meaningful. Maybe the most meaningful line and shot in the entire thing, because it does indicate that there are stories that are missing and that there's again context missing even for the people on the ground 30 years later. And what it makes me wonder is like, there's politics, like practical politics. And I know that they tried to get into this in the prequels and it didn't succeed very well, but that wasn't really the problem with the prequels. I like the idea of trade embargoes and all this kind of stuff in the Senate and all. And I think that's fine. It just was muddled. It wasn't told right.
A vote of no confidence in the Chancellor.
Thank you, Greg.
Senator Jar Jar Binks, what do you think? I used to say this is gonna suck.
Are you done?
I'm done.
So I wonder if there's like some sort of political ramification, because the one thing we don't often consider, we look at the Empire as this big behemoth. There are probably, I mean, there clearly are people who are enlisting into the Empire and the stormtroopers and drafting themselves, basically. What we lose sight of is that there might be a lot of people that do not support the rebellion at all, and that they are loyalists to the Empire. And I think that that's one of the things we're going to get into is the Death Star being blown up wasn't that significant overall for them, and that they might have even hidden it. That like no one really even knows. Like there are stories about it, but there's no evidence that it happened. Clearly, they got Vader's helmet and all this kind of stuff, but there's a lot of weird shit missing in terms of the political story of how they get to that point. I think that's going to be played up a lot. And in terms of if the rebellion wasn't able to turn the tides on the Empire after that, then what does that all mean? The one disappointing thing is that I think is fucking corny as shit is like having another Death Star. You know, like give me a break. Like enough. That's the third time in like 40 years you're going to build this thing. You know, like just.
But this doesn't make it confirmed. You're just going off the poster, right?
Well, and you see it in the trailer too.
Was it doing Death Star stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you see it blow up a planet.
I just saw the planet on
blow
fire.
up.
I didn't
don't
know
think you
what.
ever see that.
Well, you see the blast, and then it cuts to a thing
Well,
blowing
you see
up.
a blast. I mean, that could just be a J.J. Abrams lens flare too.
Yeah, I
That's
just
how he does that.
let's assume that it is
But it's
what
fair
it seems like it
assumption.
is. I just but I'm just like it has like this prominent place on the poster and stuff. I'm like, come on, you know, like that's the one thing I'm like,
Like,
we
we're
don't
gonna
need
get this right.
we don't need another mega structure from the Empire. It's not working out too well for them. The coolest thing in terms of what we see, I love the way the trailer starts, is that derelict crash Star Destroyer. What a fucking awesome idea
And
to
it's just,
really
like,
show the
salvaging
scope of it and how big it is, and it's just sitting there, you know, like a remnant of an old battle. I think that's the cool thing about this movie, that I think there's, now that we're 7 movies in, that I think is really cool, is that there's now history. There's always been history in the galaxy. We just haven't really seen much of it. There's real history now, like from things that have happened and these old relics and stuff, and the way the TIE fighters and the X-Wings are even different now, but they're still the same. And it's exciting. You know, it's definitely, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not excited about it, because I am very, very excited about it. A lot of cool imagery, a lot of cool characters, a lot of questions. I'm excited to see Phasma take her helmet off, which I think is going to happen. No one knows who she is. We know who she is, but you assume.
Well, I
that they
liked
don't
it in the
really
trailer.
know.
We saw that Kylo takes his helmet off, because I think that was a big question of, is he even going to? Is he going to be more of a Vader type? And I like that, especially when he takes it off. He looks like fucking Anakin with his hair.
Yeah.
It's great. So fucking great.
Oh, what's going to be even crazier is that at some point, someone's going to have to explain to him that Darth Vader actually wasn't a bad guy toward the end. And that's going to be an interesting point. Right? Because at some point,
He's not gonna believe him.
you're going to think that he's going to believe him when Luke was like, hey, dog, search your feelings. You know this to be true.
No, he's going to
He
be
was
filled
actually a
with
pretty
rage.
okay guy.
He won't listen.
He's a
Okay,
great
guy.
dude. And I
Yeah.
love, well,
Not
that's
bad
a
guy.
good point in the fact that no one knows that happened.
No one knows it happened.
And that is a really, really good point.
So
Only
there's a cult
Luke
of
and
Vader
Anakin
still.
know that happened.
Right.
Luke's gone, Anakin's dead. So they don't know. Like, they might have thought he fought valiantly to protect the Emperor and the throne room and stuff like that. The cool thing, and this was a rumor, which is why I wonder like what rumors were true and what rumors weren't, was one of the early rumors that I had read about this before we had seen anything is that they worship Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
and they really do worship him. You know, and I think that's so like they've confirmed it in the trailer now. It's not just like this helmet, this like relic they have. Like they are like he talks to it. It's so cool.
But it's fascinating that they worship him and not the Emperor, right? It's fascinating that he is the icon. He is the sort of the god in their culture, and not Emperor Palpatine.
And that's where the political and the weird intrigue comes in. Is like, are the stories told that the Emperor turned? Or is there
Right.
like is there all these fake stories going on about what happened in that room with the three of them? You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, it's so cool. Like it's such a nice thought to know that, you know, they have this cult of personality with Vader. It's really, really cool. And that was a really early rumor, and it was true. And that brings me to the point of, you know, we were talking about. I always talk about conspiracy theories and how conspiracy theories are often not true because you assume people can't keep quiet. And the more, you know, like the moon landing one where it's like that would involve thousands of people, someone would have spoken. These movies have involved thousands of people, from the bit actors to the stormtroopers to the special effects people to the cameramen to the fucking caterers and no one has said anything yet. You know, like I'm sure that there are ironclad NDAs, but that hasn't stopped people in the past before, and that's why I'm so intrigued by and excited by the fact that they've just managed to keep everything under wraps, and I hope that they manage to do it moving forward. I am not confident that they're going to be able to.
No, as we get closer.
They're
and
so
closer.
close to the finish line.
They are, and that's where things always get fucked up.
I mean, honestly, I don't think there's that many things we don't know at this point.
I think there's a lot of things we don't know.
There's like a couple big questions of like how people are, like who's related to who and who dies when, and will Kylo survive the movie?
Oh, I don't. I mean, those are questions, but I disagree. We just went over like all the things we don't know. Any
But
one of those
I
things.
think if you looked into things a little more, you'd answer your own questions with a lot of that. Like I was kind of staying quiet with this, but check out the video we did earlier if you want to see a little bit more.
I mean, it's all
spoilery type.
speculation at this point. To Colin's point, we don't know what the bigger picture is. We don't know what the plot is of the movie, right? We don't know if it's about destroying the new Death Star or any of that stuff. We have no idea how Luke fits into it. So that's what's cool about it.
But if you watch it, there's an Easter egg.
Which one?
There's this girl in it that no one's talking about, dressed in white.
Mm-hmm.
Looks a little bit like Padme. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
In there a few times. She got a phaser, I think, at one point.
I don't think
Set
it's a
to
phaser.
stun.
I think it might be.
She looks like Padme.
I think it might be a glow wand from
glow wand.
from
All right.
Ghostbusters, right? Isn't that what they call them? The glow wands.
Those things are called the thing she's using is called like a vibroblade or something, right? It's almost like the thing that the Imperial soldiers used in Jedi, the ones that they hold. She even holds it like them, actually, if you watch. She holds it like inverted. Like she has her hand in front of it.
Schooled. Pwned.
I just got schooled.
You
That's
got destroyed.
awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments
I think that's what
what
they're
you
called.
think of this Star Wars trailer. And if you want these Star Wars to stay. That's for you.
Do you want me, I
Little
love
Bill
that.
Murray.
I
No,
love
don't
it.
sing
I
it,
love
please
I'll
don't
sing
sing
it for
it.
you right now. Star Wars, if they should bar wars, please let those Star Wars stay. Everything.
Please.
I do everything
What time's
hardly.
it now? 1:30. Okay,
Five
great.
after.
You brushing your teeth there, Colin?
I'm gonna be fine.